everybody, it's Lon.TV, and digital photo frames used to be all the rage. You would take your memory card out of your camera, stick them in the frame, or hook it up to your computer, load it up with a bunch of photographs, and you had a nice endless stream of pictures on your mantle. The problem, though, was that if you had a less than tech-savvy member of the family, it took a lot of effort to get new photos over to them because they either had to hook it up to a computer or you had to bring them something to get the photos updated. And I was actually excited to see this little frame from a company called Nixplay. This is called the Nxplay Seed, and this is their 8-inch model. They have a 8, a 7, and a 10 available, and they're not that expensive. So the 7-inch is $89. This one here is $120 for the 8-inch frame, and the 10-inch will cost a little bit more. I think that one's about $170. So not all that expensive, and it is Wi-Fi and cloud connected. So once you get this thing established at the remote location, you can then access it from wherever you are to load in new photographs, but also to configure how it operates. You almost have remote administrative control of the frame when you're not in its physical presence. And I thought that was a really nice approach to how this works. You do have to work through the Nxplay cloud services, though, so you can control up to 5 frames and store 10 gigabytes of photos on their servers for free. And then there's like a couple of bucks a month charge if you want to go beyond that. But I think for what most people might use these for, you should be fine within their free services. And as you can see right now, it's just kind of going through some photographs here and doing a cross dissolve. You can actually configure how all of this works both through the remote here, but again over the website too. There are 2 sensors on the front. One is for the remote, so I can use the remote to kind of step through pictures a little bit faster if I want to do that. I can also hit the pause button to keep the photo locked on screen in one spot. The other sensor, though, is to detect motion in the room. So if you were to walk out of the room after about 8 or 10 minutes or so, it'll turn itself off until it detects somebody else coming back in the room. So it's a nice little power saving thing as well. It's powered by basically USB voltage, so it's not going to consume all that much power when it's on, but it will actually turn off when nobody's in the room. You have a couple different ways to use it, so you can have it work in the portrait orientation or in landscape, and it will automatically flip over in either orientation. It detects the orientation of the device. And on the back, you keep it propped up on your mantle or nightstand or whatever with a cable here. This is also the power cable, and it's got in the first couple inches here a very rigid bendable metal piece here that will let you prop it up as a little stand, which is really nice to have all of that integrated into one thing. It's not really wall mountable, though. There is a bit of a bulge in the back here, so it's going to be more of something you place on on a table or something rather than have it mounted up on a wall. It is all plastic, but it does look pretty nice from a distance. And again, there's a couple different options available both in size and in color. The display on the 8-inch model here is a 1024 by 768. That is also the same resolution on the larger 10-inch screen. The smaller one, the 7-inch screen, is 1024 by 600. So it's not like a Super Retina HD display, but when you're at a distance in the room, it actually looks just fine, actually. I think the quality of the display is very nice. The color might look a little bit more on the colder side on camera, but I can tell you looking at it in person, the photos are very nice. The color is very balanced on them, and it does really do a nice job of displaying photographs. It's IPS displays on all models, so you have some decent viewing angles on here. You will get a little bit of backlight bleed in areas where you've got black on the screen like so. So you can configure the frame to actually just zoom in on the photo and just kind of scroll it, or you can leave it in this mode that it's in currently, so you can do that. The remote is pretty easy to use, of course. You can flip through photos that way. You can also go in and do some configuration too. We're going to look at the configuration options on the website because you can actually do everything you see on here remotely. So all you really need to do on the remote initially on the configuration side is just get it connected to a Wi-Fi network, and after that you pair it up with the Nxplay cloud server and you are good to go. You can do everything remotely, including how these photographs appear. So we'll look at some of these settings when we get on the website, but you can override the web settings if you want and use it with the remote, or just control everything remotely, and I think that's probably the better way to do that. You can also browse which playlists it will play. I have this one set just to grab any playlist of photographs that I set up on their cloud server and just run them all constantly, so it's really easy to get going there. So a nice product overall, really easy to use and get set up, and actually really nice for when you're at a remote location, at a grandparent's house or something. You go in at the holiday, you get it set up, and then throughout the whole year you can very easily load photos in. Now you can load photos in through their website, which we'll check out. You can also load them in through a mobile device, whether iOS or Android. You can also email photographs into it as well. Those all go to the Nxplay cloud. You get 10 gigabytes of storage up there, and you can figure out which frame gets what, or they can all get everything. You have a lot of granular control over this. Let's take a look and see how those photos are managed. So once you log into Nxplay, this is what you're going to see. There's a lot of interface here because there's a lot of different ways to get photos into the device. So the best quality you're going to get is to upload the images directly through their album feature here, which I've done with a few images already. But you can also connect up your Facebook account and a few other social media accounts and other photo services too. So Dropbox and Flickr and Picasa and Facebook and Instagram are all compatible with this. And the way this works is that you've got playlists that you assign to the frame. So you can have everything organized in albums on Nxplay's site, but you're also going to have to set up playlists to drop the images into for the frame to display. So what we're going to do real quick here is I've got some stuff from my Facebook account. I'm just going to drag these over into the playlist here, and we'll just take a couple of these images and just drag them on in. And when I'm done with that, I'm going to click on Save. And within about 20 or 30 seconds, those images will start appearing on my frame, just running through the normal process of the image slideshow here as it's going. So I'll just speed it up a little bit with the remote so we can see when those images arrive. So sometimes it takes anywhere from a minute, but sometimes it's as fast as 10 or 15 or 30 seconds. So there you go. So the images are already up on here, and they are now part of my flowing image stream here. So pretty neat way to get photos loaded onto the device. And there's a lot more you can do on here too. So I'm going to go back here and click on the frames option, and you can see now we have the frame that we're currently working with selected. I've got one playlist assigned to that. If I want to assign more, what I would do is just go back to the playlist here and just drag another playlist over to it and publish it out to there, and that will add it to the new thing. So I can continually add photos to both of these playlists, and I can control which playlist displays on there either remotely here or locally on the remote control. So this is the basic configuration settings. As you can see, we've got a lot of settings just for how it operates on here too. So I can set the sleep timer for when it doesn't detect motion. There's a last or most recent photos option where it'll play back the most recent photos added before it gets to some of the other ones. So you can make sure that when it does switch back on, you'll see the new stuff first. So there's a lot of, again, a lot of granularity to how this thing works. You can also change just how it displays photographs too. So I can have it get rid of that fade and just go to a jump cut. I can also have it actually fit to the fill the screen up, which will make it work a little bit differently. So if I hit Save Settings here and we go back to our frame, in a minute or two, it's going to start functioning a little bit differently as photos are scrolling through it. So let's see what happens here now that we have pushed down a new setting. And you can see now that everything is filling up the screen versus before we were getting some of those borders there. So if it is an image that's larger than the frame can handle, it will do one of these little scrolling things here. And depending on the size of the image, that might get a little bit annoying, but other times like this one, it might work pretty nicely. But again, you can do that from the remote here locally or remotely from hundreds or thousands of miles away from your computer, which I thought was a pretty nice little feature there. So you get a feel for exactly the kinds of things you can do from the website, so that if you do get one of these things set up somewhere where the person that you're giving it to isn't able to do it themselves, you can continually manage this for them and give them photographs at will, which is really, really cool. So a nice website, a lot of options. You really will spend some time kind of digging through all of it, but I really like the way it works. One last thing to check out is how the app works on the mobile devices. We're going to look at the iPhone version, but it'll be very similar on Android too. So let's check that out. So this is the mobile app running on my iPhone. This will look the same in Android too. The app really is just designed for getting photos over to your frames, and actually you're sending photos to playlists which are already configured with your frames presumably. So those playlists are really important. So what will happen here is you take a photo or upload a photo, assign it to a playlist, and any frame that is looking at that playlist will get that photo once it's taken. So you can be out on vacation somewhere doing some adventurous stuff, take a picture of your monitor like I'm doing. This is the most adventure that I have, and I can fire this photo off to the Nxplay cloud services, and then they will eventually find their way back down to my frame. I have found that sometimes the upload speed is really slow, and I think we're in the early days of this product, so they're probably tweaking all their server connections and whatnot. So it does sometimes take a little bit of time to get those images uploaded, but you can use an option here at the bottom to have it upload in the background while you go out and do other things. So you are able to do that. You also have access to all the photos that are on your phone, so you can go back to things that you've taken prior and upload those photos separately too. So you do have some options for going back to your back catalog of images on your phone and pushing those photos out to the frame too. So you don't have to be in the app to take a picture and send it off to the frame. And once we get that photo uploaded, it looks like the one we sent is on its way in. That one should start appearing here on our picture frame here in a second. So we'll scroll through our images a little bit more quickly here. And in a second or two, we should see that image appear. It's about the same length of time as we saw with the web version too. So hopefully in a second or two, we will see that new image, and there it is. So a pretty quick and easy way to get things up and running. So that is the new Nxplay Seed Frame, and I really like this from the standpoint of its cloud connectivity. I know a lot of you who like to get into the guts of things are not going to like a device that is tied only to one particular cloud service, which is the Nxplay cloud service. But I think for a lot of consumers who have a grandparent or somebody in the house that just is not, or in the family that's not all that technically savvy, you don't want to have a headache over getting them new photographs every time you take a new picture, you can just get one of these things, fire your photos off into the Nxplay cloud, and they will find their way to your relatives without a lot of aggravation or hassle. So set it up once, and then you're good to go. You can pull the plug out and reset it if anything ever goes wrong, and as long as it's on that Wi-Fi connection, you will have access to it and can change how it works and also what your family members see on it too. And I think that is a great feature, and I think if you are in the market for a gift for a family member, this is a great one because you have control even after you have given it to them. This is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching.
This channel is brought to you by the generosity of my Patreon supporters. If you find the channel helpful, you too can contribute for as little as $1 a month. Visit Lon.TV/Patreon to learn more.